Imagine this. You're sitting across from her. You say nothing. You're not fidgeting, not reaching for your phone, not rushing to fill the quiet. The air feels different, heavy, electric, as if the space between you has come alive. She tilts her head slightly. Her voice softens without her even realizing it. She starts to play with her hair. Her body leans in before her mind gives permission, because she feels something, something she can't name, but can't ignore. It isn't what you said. It's what you didn't say. It's the space you allowed. It's the stillness that told her, you are safe here, but you are also seen. Most men can't do that. They rush to prove they're funny, smart, confident, anything but quiet. They talk over their nerves, afraid that silence means weakness. But silence, in the hands of a grounded man, isn't weakness. It's power. When you stay quiet, you create a gap. And in that gap, she starts to feel. She starts to imagine who you are, what you're thinking, what you might do next. That curiosity is desire beginning to wake. Your calmness becomes the conversation. Your eyes become the question. Your presence becomes the answer. You don't have to force anything. You don't have to perform. Just be there, fully, slowly, completely. Every breath measured, every pause deliberate. Because real attraction doesn't live in what's said. It lives in the pauses between your words, in the rhythm of your breathing, in the quiet confidence of a man who doesn't chase, because he already knows who he is. When you hold eye contact for that extra second, when you sit in silence without flinching, you're saying, without words, I'm not here to prove, I'm here to be. And she feels that. Her body relaxes. Her voice changes. Her mind starts to wonder. Because you've shifted the frame, she's no longer deciding if she likes you. She's trying to understand why she feels pulled toward you. That's the magnetic silence. It's not about being mysterious for the sake of it. It's about being centered enough to let the world come to you. When you own your quiet, you own the moment. You own the air between you. You own the rhythm of the room. And that's when she realizes, you're not like the others. You're not trying to win her. You've already won yourself. That's what makes her feel safe and curious and drawn in all at once. That's the power of magnetic silence. The invisible gravity of a man who doesn't need to chase because his presence already fills the room. The truth about dark female psychology. Here's the truth most men never learn. A woman's desire doesn't begin in her thoughts. It begins in her body, in the way her breath changes, in the small flicker of her eyes, in the quiet, invisible movements of her nervous system. She doesn't fall for what you say. She falls for what she feels when you say it. Because attraction isn't logic, it's instinct. It's not a decision her mind makes. It's a reaction her body has before her brain even understands why. That's why most men fail. They keep trying to talk their way into a woman's emotions. They think if they say the right words, tell the right story, or sound confident enough, she'll feel it. But she doesn't hear your words, she feels your energy behind them. When you talk too fast, she feels your anxiety. When you over-explain yourself, she feels your insecurity. When you try to fill every quiet second, she feels your fear of being unseen. But when you slow down, when you breathe deeply, when you speak with stillness in your tone and steadiness in your eyes, something shifts inside her. Her breathing matches yours. Her guard softens. Her body begins to lean in, not because of what you said, but because of how you make her feel. She can't explain it, but her subconscious starts asking quiet questions she doesn't even realize she's asking. Why is he so calm? Why doesn't he rush to impress me? Why do I feel safe around him and drawn to him at the same time? That's where attraction starts, not with noise, but with energy. Not with words, but with presence. It's the invisible thread between her chaos and your calm, a pull that can't be forced, only felt. That pull is pressure. That pull is curiosity. That pull is chemistry. And it's not manipulation. It's alignment. It's what happens when her energy finally meets a man who doesn't try to control it, but simply holds it. Most men talk to be liked. Few men talk to be felt. The first group performs. They sell themselves. They talk fast, hoping something they say will stick. But the second group, the ones she never forgets, they don't sell. They signal. Every pause, every slow look, every deliberate word says, "I'm not here to prove myself. I'm already enough. I don't need your approval. I just need to be real. I'm not here to chase your attention. I'm here to command the moment." That's what dark female psychology really means. It's not evil. It's not manipulation. It's the deep, emotional part of her that doesn't respond to logic. It responds to leadership, not dominance by force, but power through control. Control of your tone, control of your breathing, control of your emotions when she tests your peace. Because the truth is simple. If you can control your tone, you control her attention. If you can control your energy, you control her imagination. And when you control her imagination, you no longer need to chase desire, because you become the trigger for it. That's the secret. You don't make her feel something by talking more. You make her feel something by being more. Still, grounded, unshaken. The kind of man who doesn't just speak to her mind, but to her body, to her rhythm, to her silence. And that's where attraction begins. The frame that creates desire. Most men chase. They hear her tone rise, and their voice rises too. They see her energy shift, and they scramble to match it. They adjust, bend, follow, all in the hope that she will follow back. But the man she truly wants doesn't move like that. He doesn't chase her rhythm, he changes it. He walks into her world and instantly the tempo slows. He doesn't rush to speak when she does. He doesn't compete for the space. He creates the space. His calmness spreads through the room like gravity. It makes her feel her own heartbeat again. It makes her aware of the silence between words. That silence becomes the music. It makes her pause. It makes her notice. It makes her breathe a little deeper without realizing why. And in that moment, her body starts to adjust to his rhythm. Her voice softens. Her laugh sounds lighter. She relaxes into the conversation as if something inside her just unclenched. Not because he said something clever. Not because he used a perfect line, but because he made her feel something rare peace. A woman's nervous system mirrors the man she's with. When you're restless, she feels tension. When you're calm, she feels safety. When you're centered, she feels seen and grounded. That isn't a trick. It's frame control, the ability to hold your energy steady while others shift around you. It's the invisible leadership that doesn't shout, doesn't force, doesn't perform. It just is. Energy is contagious. The person who stays calm in chaos leads it. The one who breathes slower controls the pace of the room. So when she's emotional, uncertain, teasing, testing, and you stay still, she begins to orbit your energy. You become her emotional center without even trying. That's not manipulation. That's masculine gravity. The kind of quiet strength that doesn't demand attention, yet draws it from everyone in reach. Most men think presence means confidence. But presence goes beyond confidence. Confidence says, "I think I can." Presence says, "I don't need to prove that I can." Presence is peace in motion. It's calmness that doesn't depend on the environment. It's the stillness that cannot be shaken no matter what she says, no matter how the world tries to pull you out of yourself. That's what Stoicism really is. Not emotionless, but emotionally disciplined. The art of staying unmoved while everything around you moves. Because to lead her energy, you must first lead your own. To calm her chaos, you must first conquer your inner storm. Desire isn't born from effort. It's born from stillness. From the quiet assurance that you don't need anything from her to be complete. That's what she feels when she meets a man who's at peace. Her guard lowers. Her laughter becomes real. Her walls melt away. And what's left isn't performance, it's connection. Because the moment a man stops chasing validation, he becomes the place where validation no longer exists. That's how attraction turns into trust. That's how curiosity turns into connection. That's how desire begins. When your calm becomes her home. The 2-minute rule of desire. The first 2 minutes. That's all it takes. Before the story even begins, before she knows your background, before you try to make a move, the decision is already forming in her body. Those first 120 seconds are not a conversation, they're a transmission. You are teaching her, without realizing it, how to feel around you. Every word, every pause, every small silence is a signal. If you talk too fast, she feels your nerves. If you talk too much, she feels your need. If you explain too hard, she feels your fear of being misunderstood. And once she feels that, it's over. Because her body doesn't fall for words. It falls for energy. But when you slow down, when your voice drops just a little lower, when your sentences stretch just a little longer, when your words come out calm and deliberate, something happens that you can't see but she can feel. Her breathing slows down to match yours. Her eyes stay on you longer. Her body begins to relax while her curiosity grows stronger. Because now, she isn't listening to your sentences. She's listening to your state. She's trying to sense what's underneath your calm. She's scanning for who you are, not what you say. Her subconscious asks quiet questions. Can I trust this energy? Is he grounded, or is he trying to prove something? Does he lead the rhythm, or does he let me lead it? And all those answers arrive in how you hold yourself in those first 2 minutes. Speak too much, you teach her chaos. Speak with calm, you teach her safety. Pause with confidence, you teach her mystery. And mystery is oxygen for attraction. Most men panic when silence appears. They rush to fill it. They break the spell they were just starting to cast. But the man who can pause longer than comfort allows, the one who can sit in that quiet like it belongs to him, that man becomes magnetic, because she starts to feel herself reacting to him. Her chest tightens a little, her voice softens, her mind starts to race. Why does this feel different? Why can't I read him? Why do I feel this pull? That confusion is chemistry. That curiosity is the spark, and that spark turns into desire. The truth is simple. You don't create attraction by performing. You create it by controlling the tempo. Slow your body, slow your breath, slow your words. Make her feel that you have nowhere else to be, because that's what safety feels like. And safety, mixed with mystery, becomes desire. A woman doesn't crave the man who needs her attention. She craves the man whose peace she can't shake. The one who doesn't speed up when she teases him. Who doesn't over-explain when she goes quiet. Who doesn't try to impress because his stillness already does. That's the 2-minute rule. 2 minutes to show her, without saying it, who you are. A man who is calm, grounded, unmoved. Because when your presence speaks louder than your words, she's already heard everything she needs to know. The words that pull her in. Don't tell her who you are. Let her feel it. You don't need to announce your value. You don't need to prove that you're different, because the moment you start proving, you stop being, and women can feel that shift instantly. Most men try to win a woman's attention with information, facts, stories, credentials. They talk about what they do, what they have, where they've been. But those things make her think. They don't make her feel. The rare man doesn't talk to impress her mind. He speaks to awaken her body. And he does that with observation, not explanation. Because when you describe what you see, you make her feel seen. And that feeling is rare. It's intimate. It's magnetic. Ask yourself, when was the last time someone looked at her long enough to notice something no one else did? That's what pulls her in. That's what bypasses her logic and goes straight to her emotions. Don't ask the surface questions everyone else asks. Don't say, "So, what do you do?" Mitas, where are you from? What music do you like? Those questions are polite, safe, empty. They keep her in her head, analyzing, measuring, filtering her answers. And you don't want her thinking. You want her feeling. So speak in observations. Show her that you're watching her, not to judge, but to understand. Say things like, "You've got this calm energy," like you've been through storms but learned to dance in them. Or, "You seem like someone who doesn't let people in easily, but when you do, you give them everything." Or even, "You talk like someone who's learned to stay quiet because no one ever really listened." Simple words, but they hit deep because they come from presence, not performance. And when you say something like that, she pauses. She blinks. Her mind stops running its usual patterns because suddenly she's not listening to you anymore. She's listening to herself. She's wondering what you saw. What gave you that thought? Why she feels exposed, yet strangely safe in your gaze. That's when imagination begins to work against her logic. She starts replaying your words later in the car, in bed, in silence. Not because of what you said, but because of how it made her feel seen. Attraction isn't built by what you say. It's built in the gaps between your words. In the quiet where she starts imagining who you are. That's where desire lives. Your observation plants the seed. Her curiosity waters it. And soon, she's thinking about you without meaning to. That's not manipulation. That's depth. You're not chasing excitement. You're creating gravity. And gravity pulls without effort. When you make her feel seen in a way no one else has, you stop being another man in her world. You become the mirror that reflects the parts she hides, the parts she secretly wants someone to notice. That's how you pull her in. Not through clever lines, not through charm, through perception, through being awake in a world full of noise. So don't tell her who you are. Let her feel it in your calm, your tone, your stillness. Because once she feels that, she won't remember every word you said, but she'll never forget how you made her feel. The Stoic Edge. Remember this. Desire isn't built by talking more. It's built by feeling less and meaning more. It's not how clever your words are. It's how calm you stay while she tries to read you. Most men chase connection with noise. They talk, they joke, they fill every second because they can't bear the silence. But the Stoic man builds connection with silence, because silence isn't empty. It's full of presence. It's full of power. It's full of self-control. The man who owns silence owns the room. He doesn't rush to fill the space. He lets the air stretch, lets the tension breathe. He lets his calmness do the talking. When you stop trying to prove your value, you start to radiate it. That's the quiet difference between noise and authority. Stoicism isn't coldness. It's control. Control of your tone, control of your breath, control of your reactions when things don't go your way. It's the art of slowing yourself down when the world speeds up. It's the discipline of staying centered when emotions try to drag you away. And when you master that, people feel it before you speak. She feels it. She feels it in the rhythm of your stillness, in your timing, in the way your eyes stay steady when she tests your calm. She feels it when your silence doesn't come from fear but from confidence. And something ancient stirs inside her. Her body recognizes what her mind can't yet describe. This man is unmoved. This man cannot be shaken. Your calm becomes her curiosity. Your peace becomes her attraction. Your stillness becomes her weakness. Because every woman can sense when a man is centered, when he's not fighting for control because he is control. That's the Stoic Edge. It's the calm that bends the energy in the room, the quiet that makes others lower their voices, the stillness that makes her heart beat faster, not from fear, but from fascination. True power doesn't shout. It doesn't rush. It doesn't beg to be seen. It's slow. It's deliberate. It's focused. And when you carry that energy, you don't chase attraction, you become attraction. Because women don't fall for men who speak the loudest. They fall for men who move the least, and somehow make the whole world shift around them. So the next time you speak, don't speak to impress. Don't speak to fill the air. Don't speak to be liked. Speak like a man who already knows who he is. A man who doesn't chase attention, he commands it. You don't need to raise your voice. You don't need to compete to be heard. Your calm is the command. Your stillness is the statement. You don't try to be interesting, you are interesting, because you are present. You don't try to be chosen, you choose. Because the moment you try to prove your worth, you've already told the world you doubt it. And when you stop performing, your energy finally becomes honest. And honesty, in its purest form, is magnetic. When your words come from peace, they hit deeper than charm ever could. When your voice carries no tension, it vibrates differently, slow, steady, certain. That's what draws people in, not your words, your energy. A man who speaks from calm doesn't hunt for reactions. He creates a feeling, and she feels it. Not in her mind, not in logic, but deep in her body where instinct lives. Because attraction isn't built in her ears. It's built in her nervous system, and your calm is the key that unlocks it. So remember, you don't win by speaking louder. You win by speaking less and meaning every syllable. You don't need to dominate her. You only need to master yourself. That's what Stoicism truly is. Not detachment, not coldness, but control. Mastery over the only battlefield that ever mattered, your own mind. So, if these words reach you, drop a comment below with the phrase, "My silence speaks louder," not for her, not for the world, but for you. Say it as a reminder that you are no longer the man who chases noise. You are the man who commands quiet. The man who no longer reacts, he decides. The man who no longer seeks validation, he embodies it. Because the man who controls his energy controls the room. And the man who controls the room never has to chase the bed. He attracts it naturally, effortlessly, inevitably, because his silence says everything, and everything bends to the man who no longer needs to speak to be understood.